usual, I have a rowdy audience. I mean, it is 1:31 almost, so we must begin. Some of you know that I deduct class participation marks for rowdiness, so keep that in mind. And it's nice to see you all here with smiling faces. I feel, next to my colleague Walter, I feel so undressed or underdressed. Little boat, really. Little boat. Just take that off the video. I mean, you know, if I had known, I would have. So you're in for not one, not two, but three presentations between now and 3 o'clock. And this is the first of the three, and two of my colleagues are sitting here, and they'll be up in short order. These are not particularly, I know that you've all come expecting a 2-hour lecture from me, and that won't be the case. I know, deal with it. So some of you have heard that I'm on a sabbatical this year, which, pardon me, what was that? Which is a treat, and I'm working on a research project that has this title. I'm going to give it to you. It's called Sea Change, New Brunswick's Age of Wood, Wind, and Sail. Sea change. What does sea change mean?
The sea changes.
The sea changes. You see, that's what I'm, like he's undressing me. Just the sea. The sea changes. New Brunswick's Age of Wood, Wind, and Sail. So this is a topic that I've long enjoyed and done a little work on in the past. The story of when just a few hundred meters from here, there were dozens of ships being built in shipyards all along the coast of New Brunswick. So what I'd like to do is invite Raymond to start this deal with a very short video to set the stage.
No.
It's okay. I lost it.
Hit the full screen in the corner.
Let's do all of our suggestions.
Yes. All right.
The Bay of Fundy's massive tides have created one of the world's most unique landscapes. Here, the tides move 100 billion tons of water, and twice a day, the ocean rises and falls nearly 5 stories. In just one tidal cycle, more water surges through the bay than the combined flow of all rivers on Earth. Old-growth Acadian forest clings to this coastline and thrives in the fog that drifts off the bay. This rare forest type fringes the estuaries, carpets the ravines, and is teeming with life. This is the Fundy Biosphere Reserve, and these are its amazing places.
Thank you. So I can't begin to enter this topic or begin to talk about or imagine this topic without paying a lot of attention to the natural world that is the coastal New Brunswick. Now the tides in the Bay of Fundy are the most dramatic example of tidal action really on the planet. I'm looking not only at Fundy but also the Northumberland Strait section of New Brunswick, like from Moncton up to the Miramichi Valley, and then the Bay of Chaleur in the north. So if you think of the geography of New Brunswick, we're bordered on three sides by ocean. Bay of Chaleur, Cumberland Strait, and Bay of Fundy. And so along this coastline, in the 19th century, leading up to Confederation in 1867, and then following for a few more decades, over 5,000 sailing vessels were built and launched into the water, into the ocean. Some of them right here, some for St. Andrews, along you go up the coast to St. John, which was a major shipping center by world standards at the time, St. Martin's, and then up toward Moncton, Sackville, Rishabukto, the Miramichi Valley, and then up in north, Bathurst, Campbellton, Dalhousie. So that's the geography. That's the setting. Some of the most pristine coastline in this country still exists along what's called the Fundy Trail from St. Martin's to Moncton. And so I'd like to also say that I'm working in this project with an artist, a visual artist by the name of Lynn Wigington, who lives and works in St. John, and we're going to just give you a sense of some of her work. We're working toward a book and a traveling exhibition of Lynn's work and some marine artifacts, some nautical artifacts, and the book that I would write. So Raymond's going to put up some of her work, and I'll just continue to talk. Sorry that Lynn couldn't be here today. She had hoped to be able to come down from St. John. So I've told you a little bit about my topic. I want you to think about my thesis. You know, in every history class, we often spend time talking about the role of a thesis. So at the end of this talk, I'm going to ask you, there's going to be a little test, and I want you to tell me what the thesis of the book will be. Okay? No pressure. But there are jelly beans for those people that get the answer. So, Lynn's work consists of landscapes, seascapes, architectural studies, and artifact studies. So this project gives her a chance to profile her art, and I've worked with her before on another project, and I like the blend of history and fine art. I find that often paintings are more evocative than photographs. They say more than photographs. I don't want to offend any photographers in the room. And so anyway, I like the way the two play off one another. Some people will go to the exhibition because of the art. Some people will go to the exhibition because they're into the history. Some people will learn things from one medium or the other. So the aim of this project is to help celebrate Canada's 150th birthday, which is coming up in
2017.
Good, 2017. That's part A. Part B, the second aim, is I want to mark the opening of the Fundy Trail Parkway, which is the largest project of its kind to happen in New Brunswick, and it's being developed. How many people have been to the Cabot Trail in Cape Breton? Quite a few. Okay, so the Fundy Trail Parkway is better than the Cabot Trail. You wait, when it's finished, you'll see what I mean. So that will open, we hope, in 2017. They've been working on it for about 5 years. And so I want to tie this project to those two events, the sesquicentennial, the 150th birthday on the one hand, and the Fundy Trail Parkway. Now, during the time of Canada's Confederation in the 1860s, the city of St. John, the whole coast of the Bay of Fundy, both Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, was a place of, and the rest of coastal New Brunswick, as I've already said, was a place of vessel construction, schooners, sloops, brigs, brigantines, barks, barkentines, sailing ships. They're all different rigs, but made of wood. And these vessels went down the ways into the St. Croix or into harbors and creeks and inlets, and they sailed, many of them sailed to the great harbors of the world. ship captains, crews were familiar with places like San Francisco, Yokohama, Marseille, Dublin, Liverpool, Hong Kong, Buenos Aires, Cape Town, Bombay. They would go to these places in their sailing careers, and then many of them would come back home, having seen the world. Kind of like the SSU travel programs. Every vessel that was built, all 5,000 or more than 5,000, but we'll take that number, everyone's disappeared. None of them exist. They've all gone. They've been broken up. They've gone to the bottom, and you would laugh.
Had to have room for a Freudian slip.
I'm going to be introducing you later, so leave me alone. So anyway, the point I was trying to make is there's not one left. They're all gone. So if you're like me and you're interested in the coastal culture of 19th century New Brunswick, like what have you got to go with? If there were a dozen ships that had survived, then that would be one thing. But there aren't. What has survived are dozens and dozens of wooden mansions along coastal New Brunswick. Mansions, houses like this one. Built in this case not by a ship builder but a merchant and ship owner. And so many of these houses, there are a number of them in St. Stephen, were built by the same people that built the ships, using the same woods and the same handheld tools and the same craft techniques of the 19th century. The same decorative details. You know, you can actually see, in some cases, see decorations in a captain's cabin on a vessel that happened that you would see in a house. And so we have this collection of shipbuilders' architecture that no one's ever really looked at, with a view to understanding that period, the cultural history of that period. Not only the buildings remain, but in some cases, the furniture, the mantelpieces, the Italian marble mantelpieces in some cases, the furniture and the furnishings that they lived with are often available. So it's the surviving buildings and the family heirlooms that serve as the most concrete evidence available to us today of our ancestors, how they lived, what they thought, what they valued, what they believed, what they hoped for. And if you want to enter the thought world of these people, then you visit their homes. You go into their homes. As I say, many of them are available. You look at their furnishings, you see what they treasure. It was none other than Winston Churchill who said, "We shape our buildings, and afterwards our buildings shape us." So I know you're all thinking, is that his thesis? There are primary sources, lots of them, found in archives and museums and in attics and in private homes, found online, letters, ship owners' account books, captains' log books, lots of business records around each voyage, each vessel, where they went, what cargo they carried, how many were on the crew, what they got paid, how many women were involved. Often there were women who would travel on these vessels on a wedding voyage or just as a crew member. So there's beyond that, models of vessels, nautical artifacts, and so on. And so I write, charmed and challenged by their seagoing voyages to the great port cities of the world, our people returned home with new experiences, new hope, a dynamic sense of pride in themselves and in their achievements. So my written narrative will explore the traditions of skilled craftsmanship in wood, and it presents examples of enterprising shipbuilders and owners. I want to explore the homegrown values that typified 19th century New Brunswick. What were those values? Tenacity, ingenuity, self-confidence, especially in the years leading up to Confederation. And so that's the journey. I come here occasionally this term, and people say, "So, how's the writing going?" Bob Smith just asked me. Lots of people ask me, "How's the writing going?" I'm not sure if I like that question because I don't know how many students, some of you here in this room, I've said to you, "So, how's the writing going?" It's not a great question because it puts you on the spot. And writing, I don't know for you, but for me, it's never been easy. And I think I'm going to do what Bob Smith told me he does. He gets up late at night, or stays up late at night, and the creativity happens. So the writing's coming, the research is coming, but it's slow. That's the truth. So what's my thesis? Anyone dare to offer a guess? This is supposed to be interactive, eh? I've given you enough information for you to come back to me and say, "Hey Matt, how's it going?"
Well, thank you, yourself.
For you to come back to me and say, "Oh, I think your thesis might be."
Is it that we can
Okay,
read?
we got a few hands. Pardon?
I just wondered if it's that we can read the stories of the 18th century shipbuilders and we look at their homes.
That is definitely a part of the methodology, at the center of the methodology of this project. But it could be a thesis, but I was looking for a different answer.
That's beautiful.
Okay, I had some hands. Peter?
Okay, here's the thing. I think I have a good one brewing, but I'm afraid that it's come partly out of late night talks with you.
Oh.
So I think I'm at such an age that I can't remember that we ever spoke about this theory.
And it was late.
And it would have been out of the bottom or the bottle of whatever. But I have the feeling that I have a possible thesis, but it might have been helped along by you, so I should wait till later.
There's a strong past that New Brunswickers can be proud of and build on.
Nice. Okay, hold on to that thought. Yeah.
Well, part of the title is The Seas Change. So, I think you want to show the past
Yeah.
and what's built New Brunswick, say how it's different, because obviously things have changed. But then I think you want to really hit home that we still have some of that resiliency to shape a new New Brunswick so that it can change again.
Okay, that's good. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to say that we still have that resiliency. That's a bit of a jump. There's all kinds of data, statistics that would argue otherwise. We did have. Historians are about the past, right? We did have that resiliency. We did have that capacity. This province, along with Nova Scotia, some of you heard me say this in class, entered Canadian Confederation as a wealthy partner, as one of the wealthy partners. The people from Ontario and Quebec wanted to join with the Maritimes because this is where the money was and this is where a lot of the energy was. We weren't a have-not province in 1867. And so what I want to demonstrate is why. And it has to do with looking to the world, sailing to the port cities of the world, coming home with ideas that knocked people's socks off and gave them hope and a sense of purpose. So I don't know if you remember that talking about that late at night, but
Probably. Here's what I got. I got possible thesis. New Brunswick has an illustrious history of shipbuilding that provided a context for meeting the challenges of the 19th century. Revisiting their lives and stories will help us face the challenges of the 21st century.
can I borrow that?
Hey, that was music.
Okay, my time's almost up. Any comments or questions? Any words of wisdom for me? Yes?
Now, if you were to limit yourself to your discipline of history,
Yeah.
but were to partner with someone,
Yes?
then the very thing that Raymond had suggested, putting, like looking to the future, or that could be volume 2.
Well,
Very
yeah.
excellent.
It's more than ironic that the provincial motto for this province in Latin is Spem Reduxit, which means hope restored. That was designated, we were given that model in 1784, hope restored. If this province ever needed hope, it's now.
I was going to say, New Brunswick.
Yeah. Okay, thanks everyone. Number 2 coming up.